Yeah, quite a strange background from where I've been to software. I started my career as a tree surgeon way back when, like say climbing trees with a chainsaw. Very dangerous job. Absolutely loved it. It was great fun, but obviously it's for younger people. 10 years I was climbing trees with a chainsaw, and it got to a point where I felt like if you plugged a machine and a computer into my brain, I could do another job at the same time. And I thought, oh, this is getting a bit dangerous here.
Hello, and welcome to a new episode of CAD Talk. Today, again in English. My name is Jörg Lansch, and in this podcast we are talking about computer-aided design, from software to hardware, from actual technology to future developments. Today, my guest is Scott Fitzgerald. Who co-founded his company KFT Software with a vision to provide powerful and simple CAD solutions. Hi, Scott.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks. You have told me that you have no software background, which was a bit surprising for me. You started as the guy who climbs trees with a chainsaw in his hand. This sounds like an interesting career. Perhaps you give our listeners a short overview.
Yeah, quite a strange background from where I've been to software. So like you said, I started my career as a tree surgeon way back when, like say climbing trees with a chainsaw. Very dangerous job. Absolutely loved it. It was great fun, but obviously it's for younger people. And I got to a point, and it seemed like 10 years I was climbing trees with a chainsaw, and it got to a point where I felt like if you plugged a machine and a computer into my brain, I could do another job at the same time. And I thought, oh, this is getting a bit dangerous here. I'm getting complacent. I need another challenge, clearly, to use my brain rather than my body. So I did a degree in arboriculture. So it was a BSc, a science degree. And as soon as I'd finished that, I decided to try and get a job as a tree consultant, so giving advice about trees. Couldn't get a job anywhere. There wasn't many arboriculturist companies around in those days. So I decided to just give myself a job, and I started a consultancy. Briefly, like I say, started a consultancy doing tree reports, and then quickly grew that to offer landscape architecture services and ecology. And we needed CAD software. And we started with AutoCAD, but it was very expensive. And it came to a point where we needed, I think, 9 or 10 licenses. And one of graduate landscape architects introduced me to BricsCAD, and he'd used BricsCAD and a product called QScape for landscape architecture during his master's degree. We used BricsCAD as a trial, and we just straight away we changed. It was first 3 years we saved about £30,000, and it was a no-brainer for us. And we used that we started in 2012. We were always recommending it to our clients who were architects, engineers, surveyors, all the same customers that we have now. So yeah, it was a no-brainer for us, absolutely. And because we'd been using this landscape architecture plugin that was created by my now business partner, Dan Wiseman, I asked him to develop a tree plotting app for the arboriculture side of things. So I kind of got a bit of an interest in the software from that side of things. I also had created my own tree surveying app for the iPad in 2010, actually, when it first was released in the UK. And again, I had that software, and I was doing I've always not just found one thing interesting. So the tree surveying was good. It was a good moneymaker, but I was always interested in more of a digital side of things. So I was trying to bring more the digital side into tree surveying. So we did interactive tree trails, for instance, for local authorities and parks and things like that. Like I say, I already had an interest in software personally. And then I managed to get an opportunity to join with my BricsCAD reseller, who was called Dan. And then we joined up with the original BricsCAD reseller for the UK, which was called Key Terra Firma. And between us, we formed KTF Software. Their job was on the development side. My job was more on the sales and business development side of things to try and grow the market within the UK.
So your point of view to the software is more from your experience as a consultancy and the user side.
Yeah.
So you're not the developer, you're more or less the user, and you're the dummy user for your partners in software development. Is this right?
Yeah.
So that's a very helpful, bring a lot of advantages for your company, right?
For me, it just helps me to, hopefully it shows my customers that we're coming from an authentic place. I was in their position. So we're trying to position ourselves now in the UK as the go-to guys, if you're using AutoCAD, to be able to make that transition as smooth as possible. So, we help with migrating all of the information over from AutoCAD to BricsCAD. We provide AutoCAD to BricsCAD training, for instance. So it's all about giving people not just the confidence that we're able to help them with the transition from AutoCAD to BricsCAD, but also that not only can we do that, but I've been there myself. I was in their shoes. And I think that's compelling for people to know that I've been on the same journey that I'm trying to take them on as well.
So you have the point of view from your customers.
From both sides.
Yeah,
absolutely.
From both sides. Good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your offerings you have. You have software for trees, landscape design, and a larger civil thing. Huh?
So our kind of main product is called Key Terra Firma, and that's for civil engineers. It's a plugin for AutoCAD and BricsCAD, but it was developed in 2008 for BricsCAD, and it was like for all developers really, being able to offer your services for AutoCAD and BricsCAD. It gives your customer just a much wider choice. They can save money by using BricsCAD. They can use AutoCAD if they wish, but I think a lot of our customers find that it's just a much more cost-effective way to use your products with BricsCAD. So yeah, Key Terra Firma is for civil engineering, ground modeling, site design, ZTV, which is zones of theoretical. I need to remember exactly what that's for. Zones of theoretical. I can't remember what it's called. It's basically visualization of use it for environmental impacts. So essentially, how to see what a proposed structure, what the visual impact is going to be on the local area, essentially. So yeah, we use it for designing roads, designing sites in a way similar to Civil 3D, but a much more cost-effective way of doing civil engineering. We have local authorities using it, obviously civil engineers, lots of landscape architects use it as well. It's a great piece of software. QScape is for landscape architects. And again, it's a really quick way of being able to design your landscape projects. So it's a really nice way to take it through the whole process. You start with the civil engineering side, again, using BricsCAD and Key Terra Firma. Then you design the landscape following the construction phase using QScape and the tree plotting, which is called QARB. Quite a niche product, but really super quick and useful for people in that area.
If you look at the software development or the usage of software, well, we are probably more or less the same age. So we started with computers when it was very complicated, and it's get easier and easier all the time. And today we all have a little computer in our pocket all 24/7. How do you think will it develop in, let's say, 10 years, 20 years for your customers? Will it get ever easier? You already mentioned something on tablets, or what do you expect from development in the future?
Wow, good question. Absolutely, things are getting much, much easier. The functionality and the usability. People want things that are quick and easy, and that's something that we've always tried to focus on with our customers, is try to identify areas that we can improve their productivity and, at the end of the day, their bottom line. The funny thing is, though, some of the things that we're making, where we're making most productivity gains, is with Lisp routines. And bizarrely, Lisp is probably the oldest programming language out there. It's from the 50s, but it's one of these evergreen things that it's just never going to go away for CAD. It's particularly for CAD, obviously, but it's just something that we can really get people flying. Honestly, we've got customers where they used to have maybe a 7-day process, and then using BricsCAD's parametric modeling and Lisp routines, we've got them down from 7-day process to like a 5-6 hour process. So imagine how much productivity you're going to get from that. It's amazing. But on the kind of future side of things, I mean, I've always been interested in the AI side of things. I'm interested in virtual reality and augmented reality. So being able to visualize things, and for me, being able to, for instance, most of our customers are in construction, and construction is an area where there's very tiny profit margins. And again, if we can possibly help grow those profit margins on their behalf, so that in the design process, all the mistakes are made there before they actually get onto site. So it just becomes as profitable as possible for those construction companies.
Where we met, not in person, but over the internet, was CAD, this new sales and marketing platform for CAD plugins.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience. I'm relatively new to this as well. How did you met with these guys? And what are your first experiences? It's relatively new.
Yes, kind of back initially, I met Dirk from CAD in 2019. It was my first BricsCAD conference, and I saw that Mervisoft were doing really well with BricsCAD, and I wanted to kind of get some advice from him. He's been there, he's done it, he understands the whole process, and I was very new, so I approached him and his dad, and I said it'd be really nice to come and visit you and just to see how you do things, really. So I did. I visited their offices in Wiesbaden, and they hosted me for the day. Amazing. They booked out a full conference room, and they took me through all their processes. It was honestly just amazing. And I think Dirk was impressed at that point, that because he said to me, the amount of people who've said they're going to come and visit us who are BricsCAD resellers, maybe 20, 30 people have said, oh, we'll come and see you. He said, you're the only one person who's ever done it. So I think straight away we bonded, and we had, we really got on. And last year at the Brussels BricsCAD conference, he mentioned CAD, and as soon as he mentioned it, I understood exactly what it was. It was, for me, it was like an Amazon marketplace, but for everything to do with CAD. And in my impression was that you can't afford not to be on CAD. There's going to come to a point where nobody's ever going to be buying from websites, from the individual website. They're just going to go to CAD like you would now with Amazon. You'll do that with anything you need for CAD. You'll go to CAD and you'll find exactly what you need. So I definitely see CAD as like the future of CAD software and even hardware and services as well.
So, but the reason for this is, from my understanding, that it's so difficult to get an overview on the market, especially if you have the AutoCAD store and the BricsCAD store of the individual platforms. But if you're looking from a solution side, it's very difficult.
Yeah, for solutions, you often bear in mind a lot of customers, they don't even know what they need. So having a one-stop shop, so to speak, to be able to find the specific information, and not just that, have a choice as well. Again, on Amazon, you have a choice of, you might have the same product, but you've got a choice of where to get it from. So I just think it's a no-brainer for going forward. I think other communities will build up around it, so you'll see reviews and you'll find that other people who have used it, and I just feel like it's a no-brainer for a developer to be on there. I think it's going to come to a point where you kind of have to be on there, else you'll never be found. That's how I feel.
Good. And the marketplace itself, it's now online for, I don't know, half a year, 1 year. Are you already selling? That's an interesting question for a marketplace, right?
Well, I actually only put our products on very recently. So I haven't got much feedback yet. That's all to be seen. But it's of really good interest to developers in the UK. We're getting more and more on board as well, because I'm helping now with CAD to get the developers in the UK on board. So yeah, it's getting really good traction. And obviously looking on LinkedIn, the amount of people who are visiting CAD, there's so many visits. It's clear that it's going to work. It really is. And some of the companies that are coming on board, it's just evident that people really want to be a part of it.
So let's all have our fingers crossed for the future for CAD and the team around Dirk. And thanks to you, Scott. That was a very interesting conversation, and I hope you enjoyed it as well.
I did, and apologies that I couldn't do it in German.
No problem.
So I appreciate
I have to apologize for my poor English.
No, it's very good.
Okay, thanks a lot. Take care and bye.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.
I hope this episode was very interesting for you. If you have any feedback or critics, I'm very open. Just drop me a line. Easiest would be per email at info@cadtalk.de. And if you haven't done so, just hit the subscribe button, and we hear again next month. That's all for today. Thanks and goodbye.